So my name is Yutaro. I'm the founder of Nutripride, a social venture that's improving school meals in Africa. I was working for World Food Program Ghana, and I encountered the triple burden of malnutrition. I remember those children on the right and their parents being treated by their community as cursed humans. And when you go to cities, child overweight and obesity is increasing, and micronutrient deficiencies, especially for iron, vitamin A, and folate, continue to be issues. And COVID is putting these children at a higher risk. And there are many possible causes, but I realized unbalanced school meals is still an issue. In this picture in a village, you see only rice being served. In cities too, there's heavy reliance on starchy foods and sugar. And I was really disturbed because I grew up in a family that has been running a school meal business for 3 generations. So I launched Nutripride and a renowned accelerator founder institute in order to utilize my experience in the UN and global food companies, as well as my family's expertise. Another aspect to this issue is that school caterers source ingredients from the crowded open market. Here, after going through multiple middlemen, food is more costly and less fresh than buying directly from farmers. Also, imagine spending 2 hours in the crowded market almost every morning. This is risky during the pandemic. So we provide ingredient packages according to meal plans we create with local dietitians. And we source ingredients in bulk directly from local farmers and wholesalers. This way we make meals more balanced, bring down the cost, and help the school caterers avoid the crowded market during COVID. To use our service, our customers select a meal plan. Then they enter the number and age group of children they serve. And our delivery partner, Caddy, will deliver ingredients every week. Caddy is like Uber for commercial logistics and uses AI to optimize the delivery routes. Now, this is the MVP. We're also speaking with a Japanese AI firm to develop an automatic meal analysis and meal plan generation tool. Eventually, we plan to use the pictures of meals that schools currently serve and have the AI conduct nutritional analyses and generate customized meal plans. In the process, we collect data on nutrition contents of school meals, which is expensive to do in the field. And this is percentage of RDI met for breakfast and lunch per day. Green's us, orange is a typical meal plan of private schools, and blue is public schools. Our meal plan contains more micronutrients and protein and less sodium and added sugar, while the cost of each meal is 16% lower than higher income schools. And this was done by rearranging the volume and types of ingredients and eliminating multiple middlemen. And while lower income schools are still out of our range, we're optimizing our supply chain to reduce our cost of meals so we can provide subsidized meal plans. Our main revenue source is the mid to high budget private schools in urban areas, which we estimate to be 14% of all schools. That's $25 million and over 500,000 children per year. We plan to support one lower income school for every 40 buyers we get, at least to begin with, and that would be 20,000 children per year. So we just started our pilot, and in 1 week, we served about 200 children. And there's growing interest from both the buyers and suppliers. We also secured a partnership with a private school association, and they will be arranging bulk orders for their members. And we're speaking with other associations for similar partnerships. In addition to schools, we've also secured agreements from non-school caterers that also source ingredients from the open market. From them, we expect to get about 30% of our total sales, so we can continue operations even when schools are shut, either due to holidays or COVID. We can also flexibly target households with smaller ingredient packages in case the lockdown happens again. We currently have a 10% revenue sharing model with our suppliers, and as we optimize our model, we plan to push this percentage higher. The average monthly food purchase from our typical buyer private school is around $700. In the third year, our goal is to reach nearly 4,000 buyers and generate over $2 million in revenue. So I've been in the food systems domain in developing countries for 5 years, and our COO in Ghana, James, has been doing business with private schools for over a decade in the food and supply financial sectors. Soon we are hiring for sales and supply chain operations. We also work with partners and advisors like dietitians and sweet potato specialists to cover expertise we currently don't have. For next year, we are raising $90,000 mainly from non-equity funding, and I've put in $30,000 so far. The fund will mostly be used for sales and supply chain operations. With the funding, we will be helping 100,000 children access more balanced meals next year. And in 5 years, we aim to reach a total of 1 million children. And I'm just going to end with a testimonial here.
go through stress, go to the market, have to get the services of a Kayayu just to help her get everything and deliver in the school. And even that, we get the items, in a compressed state and some getting rotten or older stuff. But getting in contact with Nutripride, I bet you everything was so fresh, delivered on time. As for the price, they're so visible. So thank you to Nutripride.
And thank you very much.
Excellent presentation, first of all, very clear, very thoughtful, well understanding of market, and I'm sure your experience helped you there. So the question, what is the challenge that you're seeing? Because I saw, things going very well, but I would love to understand what are the challenges that you see in rolling out the plans that you have. And second question, what Kalpana mentioned, so I wanted to understand, you mentioned the Japanese firm you want to collaborate. A brief on that, how you're going to assess the impact will be helpful. I'm sure AI will help there, but a brief comment on that would be helpful.
Sure. For the challenge, actually, this was actually going to be my main question for the jury later on, was the partnership with the public sector, i.e. the government, the Ghana School Feeding Program. There are existing schemes initiated actually by WFP and now implemented government, as well as homegrown school feeding program. And I'm seeking to partner with them so that, I don't really reinvent the wheel for the public sector. There's nothing like this for private sector, so that's new for us. To do that, we're seeking to do how effectively to do that. Because as a new company, we're seeing kind of a little bit difficulty for us to get traction from them when we don't have successful track record for many years. That's where we are seeing challenge to provide a subsidized meal plans for them in collaboration with existing players like homegrown school feeding programs. And for AI, yes, actually the reason I started speaking with this Japanese AI firm is because they want to implement the corporate social responsibility scheme where they select one social venture per year to develop an AI system for free. And this company happens to be a company that my friend runs. So that's why we started speaking. But of course, to make it sustainable, we have to assess, how much it costs per year to roll out this AI system and whether that actually makes sense cost effective wise. So we're still very much in the conversation in that regard. But for now, we know that we at least need 20,000 pictures of the meals to implement this anyway. So we're going to be collecting that data to begin with. So,
yeah,
that's where we are.
Good to know that you have a fair idea how much data you will require. So definitely good idea. And on the challenge side, I have a couple of other points also which we can take up during our interaction session. Good work.
Okay, great.
Really interesting work. And again, it's just exciting to see how many things you can already plug into given your experience in Ghana and your family's experience in this sector. I was just wondering, obviously, right now, as you mentioned, this is already affordable to mid and high budget schools. But once you get going and there will be some economy of scale, at what point do you think you will be able to reach a price point that will be affordable to the low budget schools, which is where obviously we would expect to see the greatest impact? So how big do you guys need to be before you think you could get there?
Right. Actually, so we plan to provide the subsidized meal plans by the end of Q3 next year, hopefully. But then without the subsidizing meal plans, we think it's going to be at least a 2 years time frame that we're looking at. So we want to start subsidizing so that we can provide these meal plans as quickly as possible. I said Q3, but we're actually ambitiously aiming at Q2.
That was a terrific presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Help me understand the economics of your model, because you also mentioned that you would like to service the low-income schools, not just the mid to high range of schools. So what is actually possible for every, let's say for every 10 mid to high range schools that you service, how many low income schools or how many children in low income groups can you actually adopt or subsidize the meals?
Actually, so I mentioned in the presentation that it's going to be 1 out of 40 buyers, at least to begin with. That's calculated based on taking the 10% of EBITDA to utilize for subsidizing meal plans. Then we hope to increase that by 1 out of 30 buyers, mid to high income buyers that we get, and so on. Yeah.
So one school for every 30 to 40 mid to high schools, right?
To begin with. To begin with, yes.
And what's sustainable in the long term? The same ratio, you think, or would that change?
Well, that ratio is certainly going to be sustainable. We're definitely looking to do more, hopefully ambitiously 1 out of 10 mid to high income buyers, but
and what's
sustainably speaking, 1 out of 20. Yeah.
And what's the universe of schools you mentioned, mid to high range? 500,000 children.
Yes, per year. Yeah, 560,000 children per year.
Thank you.
That's what we're looking at. Yeah, thank you.
A question, if I have correctly understood, the food supply to the school kitchen is once a week. How do you manage food spoilage and wastage due to the supply once a week, including fresh produce? And the second question pertains to the disposable food containers I saw on the video. How are you going to handle the waste that is generated through the program?
Right, that's a great question. And the food spoilage part actually every week is like what I mentioned as an average. So fresh produce actually we deliver more frequently if we need to, about twice per week. But then we also supply the non-perishable items as well. And that can be supplied in bulk on a monthly basis or bi-weekly basis. We let the schools choose that as well, or we advise depending on the types of produce or the products that we are delivering. So on the disposable part, yes, that's something we are working on, and thank you for bringing that up, because one of the things that I saw in Ghana was that there's a lot of street garbage. So I actually, when I was there, I was actually volunteering to pick all the garbage up, and everyone was looking at me as if I'm a madman. But so that's definitely something we are looking to work on with like a recycling agency, or the to make use of the environmental friendly containers as well as the cutleries. So thank you very much for bringing that up.
So the pandemic, Yutaro, has resulted in a rise in prices for ingredients, but also a range of other foods. What are some of the challenges that you currently see in working with vendors in the supply chain?
Yeah, definitely the price fluctuation is, it's not just a COVID thing, actually, because some of the disasters that happen anyway, regardless of COVID, does definitely affect the price points for supplies in Ghana, as Isaac would definitely know. So we're definitely working with crop insurance companies, just like earlier presentation Maria mentioned in the Philippines. We're talking with a company called Oka to provide digital corporate insurance services to even remote farmers. So that's a kind of thing we are implementing to mitigate the risk as much as possible